dishwasher. They'll press it. Then they'll press it about 7 or 8 times.
Yeah.
They'll end up using more water, and it still won't be very good. I met with the head of Whirlpool. They were practically going out of business during my administration, and they said to me, from Ohio, incredible, great state, I love Ohio.
Trump is on Tucker Carlson instead of doing the debates.
Washing machines all
doing
over,
an interview.
mostly from South Korea.
So that's the background what I'm listening to.
And he was explaining it's just a terrible situation. I said, let me ask you, how's the quality? He says, we're better, but they aren't good enough quality. But, of course he's going to say that. But, they are better. He said, but they don't allow us. They're dumping these machines. They're cutting us in half. They're killing us. And on top of it, the government won't let us use water in our machines. I mean, he shows me like a quarter of a bottle of water. That's supposed to be washing clothing. And I figured it all out. And I put tariffs on these countries that were selling and the machines coming into the country. And that company went from all the washing machine companies, they make washing machines, they make cars, they make all of the different machines that do this kind of work, including dishwashers. And they went from a disaster area to being just thriving.
But
they love being that part of Ohio.
Well, I bet they do, but why should EPA, no one at EPA was elected by anybody, why do they have the power to decide how much water your washing machine uses? Shouldn't Congress in a democracy get to vote on that?
Yeah, you could say that. They do things that are not very...
So how do you, my question is, how do you, if you get elected again, go back to Washington, how do you keep the agencies under control? How do you keep the FBI and the CIA specifically under control?
The way you do it, like I fired Comey, that was a big case. A lot of people said, and I fired him very early. Somebody said, I wish you would have fired him. There's a real question about firing him. Anyway, you understand, because when they have a 10-year term, there's a real question. I fired Comey. That was a great thing. If I didn't fire Comey, maybe I wouldn't be talking to you, or I'd be talking to you about real estate or something else other than politics, right? That was a coup in my opinion. That was a very sick deal. That was the insurance policy. If you remember the insurance policy, she's going to win, Gary. She's going to win. But just in case she doesn't, we have an insurance policy. The insurance policy was what they were doing. And we caught them with that. That was a very important tweet or whatever it was. It was a big deal. That was
all right, where am I?
The insurance policy. She's going to win 100 million to 1. Right? That's not good odds. At least I gave you 1, right? 100 million to 1. But just in case she doesn't win, we have insurance. And everybody said, that's strange. That's strange. But we caught all that because I fired Comey. Because which was like throwing a rock into a hornet's nest, into a nest of bees, and the place went crazy.
So when you were president, are you confident that you knew everything, say, CIA was doing?
No. It's a very interesting group of people. I have very good relationships, I thought, but I was a little surprised when I got out that but he's going, look, it's, what were you surprised by? I was surprised. I think that's understandable. I was surprised at I had a group of people. We killed many using stories. They had very good actors. We were very good at it. You look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, bigger than
It's in a bad place. Where am I? Steam Springs,
in ISIS, and he was rebuilding ISIS very strong.
And that was the CIA that did that?
That was really us that did that. That was really us that did that. And Soleimani was us that did that, not so much CIA. But we did some very good work with the CIA. When I started, when I looked at the 51 intelligence records, saying that was the laptop from hell with Russian disinformation, when I took a look at that, I said, that's a horrible thing. I knew it wasn't. I knew it was. And by the way, you're talking about cheating in the election. McLaughlin and Fabrizio, great pollsters, they said a thing like that plus other things meant anywhere from 10 to 17% of the vote would change.
What happened to Mike Pence? You've always been nice to Pence. I've never heard you criticize Pence. You've defended him publicly many times. He's out there attacking you. What is that?
So, Mike Pence really close. You gotta understand, in my opinion, Mike Pence had the absolute right to send the votes back to the legislatures. The Democrats and everybody said, you don't have the right. In other words, what I said is here, you're the conveyor belt. If he finds fraud in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in any of these states, Arizona, he has to send them to Mitch McConnell. Right? That's right, sir. Well, if he finds fraud, he has to. Yes, sir. I said, so he's a conveyor belt. Well, put him in. I said, I don't agree with that. And we had some lawyers, not all, we had some lawyers that said, no, you do have the right to send it back to the legislatures to be rechecked. Because if you look at what went on in Wisconsin, who, by the way, now agree with me, Wisconsin has been virtually, other than the fact they're not allowed to do anything statutorily, but Wisconsin has been, I mean, what they found is incredible. I mean, we weren't in Wisconsin. But Mike Pence had the right, in my opinion, to send it back.
Did you ever talk to him?
I haven't spoken to him in a long time. I was very disappointed in him. I didn't want to do what Thomas Jefferson did. Thomas Jefferson, it was Georgia. And it was here, the great state of Georgia.
Pardon me.
Capable or allowed to tabulate their votes. And Thomas Jefferson, who was the vice president, said, is Georgia sure that they cannot tabulate their votes? Georgia is sure. He didn't send it back and have them redo it. He said, we will keep the votes of the great state of Georgia for Thomas Jefferson. President. I didn't expect that too, but I thought that would be turmoil. I asked him to send him back to his legislature, to the legislatures, you know, in Wisconsin, let's say.
But why didn't you? I mean, you'd worked together for 4 years. You're the president. He's VP. You say you're aligned on everything.
I think he got looked at it. I really do. Now, let me tell you what happened. I sat there with a few people. I think his lawyer was in the room too. His lawyer was very much against it. There were other lawyers that helped you think it was one of those things. You probably, I think you can always do something if you see fraud or if you see problems. But it's very interesting. So after the election was over, the rhinos got together with the Democrats and they redid the election. So you couldn't do anything. So they might call the people.
What the fuck?
I was right. You could do it. In other words, they took the voting act and they redid it. So the vice president no longer has the power to do what I said he could do. So when that happened, I said, wow. So, and you know, you look some of these Democrats in the eye and they say, he has absolutely no right to do it. And immediately after the election, they met rhinos, name them all, and Democrats, and they approved legislation that takes away the right of the vice president. So I said, so you're saying I was right. The vice president did have the right to do this.
There it is.
So you're saying they stole it from you last time. Why wouldn't they do this time?
Oh, okay. And not only me. Look, DeSantis is out. I think he's gone. So he was at a level. People have figured him out. He's gone. But if somebody else got in, other than me, they'll go at him just as viciously as they did me. These people are sick. They will go after him. And a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well, I must tell you. I think it's...
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week in state jury?
I think it's a lot easier because I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it. The people see it's a fraud. The people see it. Like this horrible district attorney from just a little while ago from the central Atlantic. It's Hope County. She said basically I don't have any right to challenge an election. Well, what about Stacey Abrams? What about Hillary Clinton? What about all of these Democrats that are still challenging my election? The same people that are saying, he's challenging an election, challenge my election. And they did it with slates. They did it with all sorts of things. They were very bad about it. But basically, they're suing me and they're saying, you don't have any right to challenge it. If you challenge an election, you're going to indict you and put you in jail. So what they're doing is they've weaponized, and don't kid yourself, the DOJ and Biden and the whole group, they're watching all of this stuff. They love the local stuff, the DA in Manhattan. Not only that, they put one of the DOJ top people into the Manhattan DA's office to run things. They don't even have a case against him. Not even a case. Everyone says, Even the Democrats say, you can't bring these cases. You have no case. The Attorney General or the District Attorney, Fannie Willis, in Atlanta, she's getting killed. Basically, she's saying Trump doesn't have the right to criticize an election. But you've been around long enough now. You've seen many elections criticized. I mean, Hillary Clinton goes crazy. Every time she talks, she says, he's not the president. Jimmy Carter said, he's not the president. Well, I am the president. Hillary Clinton called me, by the way, 3:02 in the morning to congratulate me the night of the election.
Did her voice crack?
Well, her voice was it's very different. I won't get into that. But
what do you mean?
her voice was very different. Don't forget, they were all celebrating at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I came home and I said, I think we won. I thought we won because the rallies are so big. We'd have a good day in Wisconsin. We'd go to Georgia. We'd go to different states. In Michigan, we have rallies. In Pennsylvania, we had 58,000 people in Butler. And I said, how are we losing this? How do you have a rally where you have from 50 to 100,000 people, many of them? I did 7 a day for a couple of days. That's a lot. These are big rallies too. And I didn't hold back. I didn't say, let's do abbreviations, right? But they challenged the stuff. Yeah. Hillary called me up and conceded. Now the report is that Obama said you have to do that. But she called up and totally conceded. But now, every time you see her on television, she's saying, she's challenging the election.
Do you think
so that would mean that she should be indicted. But that would mean also that Stacey Abrams in Georgia should be indicted. Because she still thinks she won the election for governor. She still thinks that. She's never recanted.
Do you think Stacey Abrams will be indicted for that?
No, of course not. The Democrats don't get indicted for things like that. They don't get impeached. No, it's a different thing. With that being said,
yes,
I had great support when they did impeachment hoax number 1 and impeachment hoax number 2. Jim Jordan, the House was fantastic. And actually the Senate was very good for me, other than, Mitch McConnell. Megan Hughes losing. I mean, the race, because of my down, who's going to lose to Amy McGrath, $90 million in cash, all set to go. She was leading by 3. He was going down. I did him a favor, and then 3-4 months.
Shut up.
He really wanted to impeach him. He's a bad guy. But what's going on politically is so interesting. The level of loyalty is different in politics than it is in normal life, I would say. With that being said, I've had great loyalty also. But the House was fantastic. The Senate was very good. They overrode Mitch McConnell, in my opinion, is trying to get senators to impeachment, especially for the second one. And on the first one, he acted very, very slow. Should have gone much faster. But Mitch McConnell wanted to, and the senators went up to guys that are subservient to him because he gives money. He gives them money. He gives them a lot of money. He raises some money and he gives it to them, and therefore they do what he said. That's the only form of leadership he's got.
So last question. If you're elected president again, what's your number 1 priority? When you ran last time, you said, I will build a wall. This time, your bottom line top promise.
So you can do numerous things in the city.
Welcome back, honey.
Number 1 is the border. And taking hundreds of thousands of criminals that have been allowed into our country and getting them out and bringing them back to Guatemala. By the way, not only the 4 countries that we think of as neighbors. Last month, we had 149 countries represented. Think of it. We had 149 countries represented.
I said, welcome back, honey.
I forgot to send you the video of why Jamesie's so aggravating, and I went off on her.
No, well, me and the people of America are watching Trump on Tucker Carlson. He didn't go to the debates.
Have you talked to the border today? I mean, does it sound that bad?
Well, when he got home from school, he sounded bad, and he didn't say anything. And I asked him what was wrong with him, and he said his throat hurts. And that's all he said. So Tyler was over. So I helped Tyler with the resume and all this. And then when I got back on with him, he sounded terrible. And I told him, I said, go. tell your daddy to give you some medicine. I said, you sound bad. It sounded like really stuffed up and like he was having trouble breathing. So then I stayed off. I didn't play no games or nothing. We played one round when he first got home, and then I just had the game up and I was messing with the computer. And then he got back on there and it sounded like he was crying. He said, I ain't got nobody to take me to the doctor. I can talk to your mom, man.
But yeah, Kristen and her got in an argument because it's always, you know, her thing is like school just started, and then he's already, I don't want to go to school, and you know what I mean, and so whatever, and then